Greetings and salutations, welcome to the continuation of our Hindustan game in Europa Universalis 4, where we are launching a war against Tabaristan and the Ottomans, calling in some backup from Russia and Ethiopia. And the reason for this war is not that we have too many ambitions for Ottoman or Tabaristani territory, but rather that Ottomans had attacked a Russian ally and tried to call us into war against the Russians, which we didn't want to do because Russia trusts us. I mean, we are the closest of friends. So, we had to dishonor our alliance with the Ottomans, lose that alliance. And it was an annoyance. Annoyance for which they have to pay. I mean, that's something that I would have done to the computer. Attack one of the weak allies and force the allies, in this case Hindustan and Russia, to fight against each other. And that means that it is dastardly and worthy of punishment. That highlands right there would be easily defendable. So I'm going to hit it. Right now it's an outdated fort. We've got a guy with siege and we've got a lot of cannons. This army doesn't have as many cannons as the others do, so I'm going to start producing more cannons here. We get up to 32, and then once they're done being produced, I'll send them up to join the force. And the reason why I'm favoring that easily defensible place right now is it will fall quickly and I want to deny it to the enemy, because I can see that they're busy on this front, and they have a lot of troops up there. So they're not going to have as many opportunities to eject us from that fort. If we can capture a lot of these strategic forts early on, then we could help out our allies in battles like this one, that are really close. Or, this campaign. So it looks like Ethiopia did narrowly win that battle. And we took Tabriz, which is one of those strategic forts. This one's going to hold out a bit longer, as will that one. But we can move up and engage the Ottomans. We capture this fort, which means that we could strike at Damascus from below, and if we can capture that, it will make it much harder for the Ottomans to attack Ethiopia. And Ethiopia needs a free hand to capture Cairo, and then they could turn west to deal with Tunis. These forts are really, really important. We need freedom of movement. If our troops can be brought together, if all three of us can work together, then the Ottomans don't really have a chance. Okay, so they're moving into Kakheti. Nice. We're gonna chase them. Okay, they're gonna fight us here. They were trying to get there before the fort fell. So we control the fort, we are considered to be the defender. And they're marching in. This is not going to end well for them. So we're going to take a look at these battles, because I do want to know everything that's going on in these battles. Okay, you can just look at that difference in morale. So they have a little bit more discipline than us, and slightly better military tactics as a result. Because military tactics add a little bit, or discipline adds a little bit to military tactics. But when you look at that difference in morale, that's over 10% difference. And they have penalties for the terrain. We have much better shocks. I'm waiting for that shock phase. These battles had started. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the battles. Yeah, their army was just demolished once we got to the shock phase. Okay, so we're engaging them here. And they're again attacking into the mountains. We got good rolls, but we have a lot more cannons. And our general's better than theirs. At least in shock and fire they're doing better. Now let's see about this fight. Wow, we completely stack wiped the Ottoman army. Ottomans are overpowered, nerf Ottomans. Oh, that's mountains. We would be the attacker, so we're going to hold off. We'll wait for another opportunity to engage him. And this army, we're going to now move down to Aleppo, which is dry lands. It's flat land. We've got good chance of capturing both of these pretty soon. And I'm going to send these cannons that are done up to the siege. We lost our good general. May she rest in peace. And she was in charge of this army, so as soon as they capture this area... Okay, we're going in, despite the terrain. Okay, now that we've gotten distracted, I am going to try capturing that fort. This isn't the best... That's not the best army for the job, as they do not have any siege. And this is a mountain fort, so it will hold out longer. And it's up to date. So let's hire a new general. And we have one on siege, so that's better than our other alternative. Okay, so we work together with Russia to crush the enemies there, and we will lay siege to Kartli. The Russians are laying siege up here, they need a general. Ethiopians are doing their job, they've got a lot of cannons relative to the size of their army, they have a general with siege. Yeah, that's what they should be doing. And no one's even worrying about Tabaristan over here. The Russians are laying siege to the war goal. It's just funny using Tabaristan as a pretext for war when we really don't care about them. Okay, this army could march onward. We're going to go for this Highlands fort, because that's one we can actually get to. And it's only level 2, it's outdated. We should be able to capture it pretty quickly. If they throw a lot of troops at it, we would have to retreat due to that terrain bonus. Okay, so all of these troops, we're going to move them up to Antioch. Just be ready to invade. It's Esil. Okay, we captured Kartli. We should see what Russia's interested in taking in this war. So they have an interest in this. If they were given it, they would take it. They're mostly interested in that territory. And a little bit from Crimea. They're interested in this, but that would give them ugly borders. So we're going to have to be men of principle about that matter and say, no, sir, you may not have that territory. Go ahead and seize this for Russia. So we either have a chance of spending a little bit of admin to get some piety or losing piety. We want piety because it gives us morale. And this should go to Russia. We'd give them better looking borders. And again, that's important. Little known fact, the better your borders look, the stronger your country will be. You can write that one down. Okay, time to fast. We either lose piety or gain piety. We want to gain piety. Okay, this army is going to move forward. We'll move this one to the coast where there's a slightly higher supply limit. And Alania has fallen to us. We're going to hand that off to Russia. And we're going to move this army up to try crushing that Ottoman army. So really, the Russians should lay siege here. I'm going to ask them to do so. That way they block Ottoman movement this way, while we go that way. And we'll trap them. But Russia doesn't seem eager to listen to me. Despite the fact that we win wars, they lose wars. Apparently they think they know best. Okay, so we'll tell them instead to go down here. Okay, our army's going to march up here, and then we're going to send this army up to try trapping that Russian army. Okay, I wish the Russians were being a little bit more effective at clamping down here on Tabarstan's army and snatching up this territory. Okay, we stack wiped yet another Ottoman army. And we're going to oh, we almost caught him. Okay, we'll just subject this fort to a siege, and we'll send this other army around to work on Crimea. I'm going to wait for them to get locked into movement by virtue of moving half of the distance or more that they're supposed to travel. Okay, this army is pretty much in reserves. We can't reach any new forts, so I'm going to split them in half to reduce attrition, and we'll call upon them to back up whatever armies we need. Okay, now France has declared war upon the Ottomans. Take advantage of their weakness. And I approve of that decision. Times are going to get very dark for the Ottomans. This can be a major problem for them, because now they're fighting on two fronts, one of which they're losing decisively. So their armies are only going to have a short distance that they could retreat to avoid engaging one of our armies. Like if they're defeated here, they can only pretty much go there, maybe over here. Once we capture these two forts, basically their armies are going to have this area to move around in. We're going straight for the coast here, because if we can capture these two provinces, then Asia is denied to them. They won't be able to relieve any pressure on Tunis from our Ethiopian allies, who have taken upon themselves to try seizing back the Holy Land. Okay, Statesman is gaining power. We could fire them, and this is that half-cost guy that's +3. So no, we're just going to lose a little bit of prestige. Okay, we're starting to get some war exhaustion here, which isn't ideal for the sake of our manpower pool. We have huge armies that are suffering a lot of attrition. Okay, victory. Our initiative in Parliament passed. So our army tradition that we pick up in this war will decay at a slower rate than before. That's good. Do we raise war taxes? No, I don't think so. We have a nice nest egg. And we'll have to find some stuff to spend all that money on, as we are now a wealthy nation. So we're going to split this up. We don't need all of those troops on the front. We need them nearby so that we can deny these straits to the Ottomans. If they try to cross, we do want to be able to kill them. And this army we can now use to start snatching up some more territory. Okay, the Russians are taking over some Tabarstani territory now, which is good. I'm going to eliminate this army that's behind our lines. That's definitely an annoyance with which we do not wish to deal. And I plan to be pretty generous with our allies in this peace deal. If we were going for world conquest or something like that, we would, want to be doing everything for ourselves and backstab our allies in the peace deal. That's not what we're doing in this game. Okay, it's pretty much curtains for the Ottomans. Curious how many men they can still feel their enthusiasm is low. They used to be up here at the top. They still have 182,000 men, so it can't be underestimated by most people. We can certainly underestimate them, as our army is triple the size of theirs now. I don't think we actually want to convert anything else. Yeah, none of the rest of that is of interest. We're just going to dismiss that alert. And I think we're going to start spending some of this money on manpower buildings because we are suffering on that front. So these would give us 1,750. That's a lot of manpower per year. Again, these ones are like the teal color. It's because we've finished the first level. The level 1 building. So it's half cost. Or, sorry, 1/3 off. So I'm going to prioritize those when all things are equal. 625. $500. There's probably some places in China that would give us really good manpower. Yeah, 1,000, 1,500. That's pretty nice. So I think I will actually start raising some war taxes so we can get some more manpower buildings more quickly. Alright. And we don't really need that for this war. Obviously, we're trouncing them. But after the war, it'll help us recover and prepare for our next conflict, whatever that may be. Let's transfer this over to Russia. As soon as this fort falls, we're going to peace out Crimea. And that has fallen for them. So we'll spread out our troops just a little here. Liberate that Russian territory and send this army over to finish off Tabaristan. And then we're just going to start hunting after those Tabaristani troops. Okay, our forces have come around through here, Kievan and Russian troops, and are laying siege to the Ottoman capital, which is our war goal. Okay, let's send these troops down here. Oh, there's one more province. Let's go for this one. Okay, so I think we could offer peace to Crimea. And Russia really wanted some stuff over there. Let's clear that off because it's really expensive. So we'll give Russia these 2 provinces. And then we'll take some money and force them to break off. They dishonored their alliance with the Ottomans already when the Ottomans were invaded by France. So we'll force them to give up their claims, and they'll have to pay us 10% of their income for the next 10 years. So Russia picked up 2 provinces out of that peace deal. And let's get these guys back to the coast so they suffer less attrition, because the supply limits there will be higher. Coastal provinces get plus 50%. Okay, Ethiopia sees this because Yerevan is a holy site for the Coptic faith. And let's get these troops back onto our territory. I don't think I'm going to offer peace to the Ottomans until Constantinople has fallen, because that'll be a big jump in our war score. Yeah, they need to nerf the Ottomans. Look at how powerful they are. I'm mocking that idea. Ottomans are very powerful early game if you're near them or you're not a strong nation. You start playing as like Hungary, you try to face down the Ottomans. They can bring the pain. They certainly can bring the pain. But I think it's entirely manageable. Yeah. If you choose the time in which you want to invade. Oops, we are exiled, so let's get ourselves back onto friendly territory. I was really salty. My first game under patch 1.18, I played as Kaffa and tried to face down the Ottomans. So Kaffa is that tiny little nation here, and I had taken over a bunch of stuff in Ethiopia and made my way up to Egypt and started conquering down and faced the Ottomans, and they just trounced me a couple times. It's like, wow, they're really overpowered. It didn't seem like anyone was going to be able to stop them until Prussia did. So I think people have still some legitimate complaints about just how impressive Ottomans can be early on in the game. But they can be defeated. And we are having fewer problems with them than we've had with some of the Chinese nations. Now granted, we've got support from our allies and so on, but even in the straight-up battles between us, one-on-one battles, they have not been able to perform very well. Lost General, Ottomans want to offer us some peace. They think that they can get out of this peace deal by giving us 3 provinces and money. They have no idea what kind of war we're waging. So we need to embargo them while we can. Can't do it while we have a peace treaty, so we need to do it right now. Okay, we're suffering a lot of attrition. Let's see, those 2 armies, who else? This army, and that one. Okay, well let's pull these armies to the China region, where they'll be needed next. Okay, we can sign this peace deal with the Ottomans. Let's just get a sense again of what our allies want out of the war. Okay, they would really like this territory down here. I think we'll give them a little bit in the Georgia region. And what does Ethiopia want? All this stuff pushing towards Jerusalem. Okay. So, Ottomans, you have to give up that. And at least that. We're going to take your fort from you. We're going to take that fort, that fort. If we take a bunch of forts, it will be weakening them for the next war. We need more appropriate borders. We're going to take that from them. And then we're going to feed some more to Ethiopia. They would agree to those peace terms. It will upset just a couple people. And we're not giving as much to Russia as we could. Let's get some money added to the peace deal. And they'll be split up based off the contribution of each power. Okay, I think I like that. That's a pretty good peace deal. So Russia already got some territory from Crimea. They're getting some here. As soon as we have another diplomat back, we'll sign a peace treaty with Tabaristan. Let's send this army down south to protect these newly acquired, well, this one newly acquired province. And we can pull these troops out and send them where? I'm going to send them to India just in case we need an army there. And we complete our mission, which will give us more manpower, reduce overextension, sure. These troops are going to move up to this region, so we're going to have rebel problems there. Okay, so our first concern... Wait, we only have 57 war score. Okay, because of Tunis. Tunis is still in the war and hasn't been beaten up. Too much. So we can give Ethiopia a chance to beat them up further while we worry about getting our troops where they need to be. Okay, and this looks good. We're not suffering any attrition there. We're not allowed to embargo the Ottomans any further, as they do not qualify as a rival after what we just did to them. No. Because we're going back there, so what are we going to do with this army? Guess we could station it in the Khiva region. Okay guys, you need to take forts. Okay, so what do we want to do? First of all, we need to give that to Russia. That goes out without saying, and then we need to hand that stuff off to Khiva. Okay, Russia doesn't want that. Do you want this, Russia? We'll give you that, if you want it. Nope. We can take Shirvan, we can take all their money, force them to give up these claims. Heck, let's force them to give up all of their claims. Okay, so Russia is getting more out of this peace deal than they expected based off of their contribution. And everyone seems happy. Now we are quite overextended and we've got some war exhaustion. That's okay. Guess there's a nice fort here, but ours is better. So let's just get rid of that. Don't really need the Fort in Yazd any longer, but we'll keep it. It'll be a second row of defenses. Okay, so that definitely curtailed the Ottoman power quite a bit. We have much better borders with them. Let's get this guy up to Shirvan. That's probably where we should be. And then, let's see. We'll split them between Zanjan and Ardabil. The only person that didn't get anything out of this was Ayutthaya. It would have been nice to give them some stuff down here, so we'll have to consider that one of our goals in the next war. If Arstan wants access to our country, we're going to tell them no. Let's see how long this video has been going on. 30 minutes exactly, so I think we will stop here for now. Thank you for watching. If you found this to be useful or informative, please consider liking the video and or subscribing to my channel.